welcome Star Wars fans all across the galaxy. This is Uneducated Star Wars Talk, brought to you by the Uneducated Network. I'm your host, Chris Lambert, and thanks for making me a part of your day. Now, I got a great episode in store for y'all, but before we get into the episode, as always, let me give a reminder. Press that subscribe button, also press the like button. Helps the channel out a lot, and plus you'll get updates on all kind of content, whether it's sports, gaming, and of course Star Wars and comic book movies and TV series. So press subscribe and don't forget to share with a friend. But on to the Star Wars news. The Last Jedi box office predictions. If you, I'll give my early predictions. Kind of early. We got like a month till the movie, so it's kind of early. But I'll give my box office predictions. And I'm only saying that because the story came out that the Last Jedi is tracking to have a $215 million opening box office that for the first opening weekend, and that's big. The Force Awakens is the all-time movie champ domestically. That's in the U.S., not worldwide. In the U.S., is the box office champ right now at opening weekend. I think it hit 250 million, or 258, somewhere in that range between 58 and 50. It hit and broke Jurassic World's record, which I think that did like 208, and Force Awakens did 258. But the Last Jedi is tracking right across in the middle, and I kind of think a lot of people don't think it has hope to even touch the Force Awakens record. I kind of believe it has a little slight chance. Slight chance. I don't think it's as impossible as people think. It's gonna have to be a great movie first and foremost, and I think it will. You heard me say on the channel that I think it'll be the best Star Wars movie that we have, and probably will have for not quite a while, but for the foreseeable future. I don't see Han Solo being better than the Last Jedi. Well, maybe Episode 9, but I'm not sure. We'll have to see how stuff starts unfolding. But Last Jedi, like I said, it has to be a great movie. First of all, and word of mouth has to be good. The critics have to like it, and it's gonna have to be doing good at the box office to get that repeat business, to get people back in the seats and stuff. Because we know us Star Wars fans, we know we're gonna go see it over and over again. Like I know I'm gonna probably go see it twice opening weekend, and I know there's people who have more money than me and more time on their hand than me that probably like Star Wars as well, who probably will be going to see it more times than me that opening weekend. But the key for them to break the Force Awakens record, and that shouldn't even really be a goal, because that was circumstances was perfect for the Force Awakens to be that make that much money and be that successful just in its opening weekend, and it went on to make I think like $2.4 billion, and it's just the third movie in movie history to hit $2 billion. That would be in Avatar and the Titanic. And you know how great those movies were. Maybe not Avatar. I don't know if Avatar really didn't stick with me, but it was a beautiful movie when it came out, nonetheless, and it made a lot of money. So, guess what I say? But it was Force Awakens was just one of those three to hit that $2 billion mark. This movie might have a chance, and I think it, for one, might be is going to be better than The Force Awakens, but it has to get that word of mouth to get people back in the seats, not just us Star Wars fans, but the general public as well. Get them back wanting to see it, and I think it will. I think it will, because a lot is at stake in this movie, and I think the trailers did a great job of selling people. Maybe even the general public. I don't think it'll be another big trailer that they'll put out, but I think the TV spots and the commercials, I think those will start rolling out real soon, and then you're probably gonna get a bunch of those. And I'm probably not gonna watch all of them because I don't want to know too much going into the movie. But I'm super excited for the movie, and to end it off, I think it'll probably come close to The Force Awakens. I think it's gonna hit maybe around that $245 million for its opening weekend. Probably, I think that for sure making it the number two opening weekend behind The Force Awakens. Either way, I think it'll be the number two. I think it's gonna beat the 208 from Jurassic World, and I think it'll be somewhere in between. And I'm thinking more around that 235, 240 ish, somewhere around there. And because I think we'll get the repeat business and all that, but I think that 250 or 258 is just a bit much to ask for a movie. And no, by no means should Lucasfilm base it, if the Last Jedi outsells the Force Awakens. They shouldn't base their success off of that. And I don't think they are. By no means are they, because they know what happened with the Force Awakens. It was Star Wars coming back. Everything was, Luke coming back. But little did we know how much he would be coming back. But Leia was coming back, Han coming back, Chewie would be home. They had that moment in the trailers, and these trailers have been great, but none of them have been that trailer, that Chewie with home trailer. That sold a lot of people on the Force Awakens and got probably a lot of butts in seats. But that's what I think. I think it's gonna hit the 235, 240. I'm for final. I'll say 240 for the Last Jedi opening weekend, making it is our number two box office movie opening weekend. But let me know in the comments what you feel about it. How do you feel about how do you feel the Force Awakens is gonna do its opening weekend? How do you think it'll do overall? Do you think it'll beat the big movies like Avatar and Titanic? Let me know in the comments. But back to on to Rebels, because we got a great episode of Rebels yesterday, and I didn't get to catch them not yesterday, the day before yesterday, but I didn't get to catch them when they came out, but I got a chance to watch them the second or third time they aired. And these was great episodes. Rebels doing a great job to start off the season so far. These was some great episodes. I knew they would be about Saw Gerrera and was super interested in that because I love the conflict between the rebellion and Saw. The rebellion knows he is kind of right. They do need to pick up arms against the Empire, and how they handle the conflict of the rebellion trying to handle Saw's outlandish tactics and his terrorist tactics to what they're truly trying to accomplish. And I love seeing that conflict. And right off the bat, we get introduced to the rebels being on Yavin 4 at the beginning of the first episode, and that was great. And that just leaves me to wonder. I don't know if I missed it in canon somewhere. What happened to Dantooine? Because I don't recall in Rebels them making the rebellion making they stop to Dantooine. Maybe that was just one rebel cell that was on Dantooine that Leia knew about and told Tarkin in Episode 4. But wanted to see Dantooine, but I knew they was going to Yavin 4 from the trailers and stuff. But that's just been a question lingering in my mind. And if you know, let me know in the comments. But we get introduced to Yavin 4. Zeb showing Kanan, Ezra, and Sabine around the base. And then Hera comes in a Y wing, crashes a Y wing. I don't really know what happened. I think they got attacked by the Empire if I remember correctly. But Hera comes in a Y wing. It was great seeing her and Kanan for the first time together. That was great. And Agent Callus also. It was good seeing him. Even though his voice seems slightly different to me. Maybe it's just been a while since I heard him since season 3. But his voice seems more. I don't know. He sounded more like he could play a vampire. Listening to him in Rebels. But it was good seeing him back and good seeing him announce that Mon Mothma was there. Couldn't wait to see her on screen. She's been doing a great job in Rebels. And that was one of my favorite parts of the episodes was Mon Mothma's and Saw. When he projects himself as a hologram, talking to the troopers of the rebellion, and Mon Mothma walks up, and they have their little bickering, and that was the exact type of conflict I was speaking on a little earlier, that we got to see the leader of the rebellion uh, go up against Saw Gerrera and tell him that his ways are basically wrong, and how he targets civilians and gets civilians killed, and he feel like it doesn't matter, but that's not who the rebellion is, and that's not what they kind of trying to accomplish. And basically her telling him that he's really no good, no better than the Empire. And Ezra at the beginning, you can see him kind of siding with Saul, because Ezra had the attitude of, well, he gets results, so you know what I mean. And in a way, Ezra was kind of right, and that's this is the area that I love, because in a way, both sides are kind of right. It's just it should be a happy middle ground, and I think that's what both sides are trying to find. And we kind of see that in this episode. Saw kind of finding that middle ground, because it was a couple times Saw did some things I didn't think he would do, but I'll get to that more a little later. But in the first episode, it was about an Imperial relay station that basically Baron Mothma didn't want to destroy because she don't think they can fight arm for arm with the Empire. She don't think it should be an open war yet. She don't feel the rebellion is ready. So she chooses these little missions. Like she wanted to basically patch into the relay so she can listen in on the Empire stuff, and Saul basically wanted to destroy it. And in the end, Saul ended up saving the day because Sabine and Ezra they end up getting caught up and getting alerting the Empire that they were there. Saul has to bail them out. They end up blowing up the relay station anyway because they was gonna get caught up and they didn't want to keep it in Empire hands. But Saul actually comes with the bombs to destroy it. But Sabine and Ezra did have that plan out. But yeah, that was great to see that he came eventually saved the day in that episode. And then in the next episode, they was hunting down this specific cargo for the Empire. And this episode, it's not huge problems. This is problems for me because I'm such a big fan of the Death Troopers. They did the Death Troopers so wrong in this episode, and it makes me question stuff that they got going on. Because the Death Troopers, I understand they're not the elite of the elite, because that would be Inferno Squad. But from what we heard of the Death Troopers and what we've seen in them in Rogue One, they should have been a lot tougher than what we've seen in Rebels in these episodes. They just basically get wiped out by Ezra, no problem. And the Death Trooper that we actually did here, I hated his voice. He sounded just so maybe not young. I wasn't thinking he was young, but he just sounded fragile. And I was thinking this is not how we shouldn't even be able to hear Death Trooper's voice, because in Rogue One they had a voice modulator that scrambles their voice so other people can't hear them, but with people with their helmets can hear them, so that it would be only the squad can understand what they were saying. And I loved, and maybe it's just me because I love the Empire, like special forces and stuff like that. I love the different type of troopers, and like you want to see the difference between these troopers. They shouldn't be getting wiped out just like the stormtroopers are and the scout troopers. They should pose more of a threat. And I think they took the threat away from the Death Troopers a lot in this episode, letting them get wiped out so easily by Kanan and Sabine, just looking like regular stormtroopers, and then having the one that was talking, having him sound, like I say, so fragile. And maybe he did just sound young, but he just sounded fragile to me, like he didn't know what he was doing. And they had these Death Troopers guarding the Kyber crystal that Sabine and that Saw ends up destroying because he doesn't want it to get into the Empire's hand. But here you see the Empire basically continuing construction on the Death Star, because we know this Rebels is, I think, a couple years out from Rogue One. I'm not sure how many years. I know it's like 2 to 5 years out before Rogue One. And we just see the basic, still they constructing the Death Star, getting the Kyber crystals for the laser. We get a mention of Krennic by the Star Destroyer commander, and that was great. Got the his Krennic name. I'm a big fan of the Empire, of the Empire, like special forces. Like I say, I'm not for enslaving planets and taking their raw materials and stuff. I'm not for all that, but the military is pretty interesting to me. So I always liked them. I always gravitated towards them. But in the end, they destroy the Kyber crystal. Saw and Ezra have not a bickering about saving some civilians, some scientists that was on board that the Empire took as not slaves, but was gonna make them work on the Death Star as well. So we got to see a little bit of that. That's a reference to Galen Erso in Rogue One, because that's his exact same situation. So that was great to see. Like I say, we still got to see them constructing on the Death Star and those plans coming to be. But let me know in the comments how you felt about these episodes. It was great episodes. I love the overall theme of it, and that was how should they fight the Empire? How should the Rebel Alliance go about defeating the Empire, and just which way is the right way to fight? And we got the great look at both sides of that. We got to see Ezra witness Saw in the field, and really he didn't really too much agree with it, because Saw was gonna leave the civilians, leave the scientists there, let the ship explode and all that, and Ezra just wasn't for that. So you can still see Ezra got that good side in him. So I'm not too sure about that Ezra dark side theory that everybody had, and even I had for a while, because that's what they was hinting at a bunch during season 3, especially during the trailers and stuff. It didn't come too much in within the season, but in the trailers they hinted at that a lot. So I don't know if that's gonna come to be, and I don't mind, but I'm still interested to see what happens to these characters at the end of the day. But let me know in the comments, like I said, how you felt about Rebels. It was a great episode. Aside from them totally disrespecting the Death Troopers and making them useless, I love these episodes. That was my only gripe. Uh, not gonna say I don't like the Death Troopers now, because I still like the overall design of them. I like the threat that they should pose. I just wish that Rebels could have had them come across a little bit more imposing, or have Ezra and Sabine have it a little bit more of a challenge, and Saw as well, because Saw takes some down like with no problem. So Death Troopers, especially working as a squad like that, they should have been able to pose a little bit more of a threat. And I didn't think anybody would die earlier in this season like that, but that was just a problem I had with it. And I'm digressing about that. Excuse me, but that was a bit ranty about my Death Troopers. But like I said, I love the Empire Special Forces and stuff like that, and feel like they should differentiate a little bit better between them. But that's until next time. I'm Chris Lambert. Thanks. Bye bye.